Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer was born on May 21, 1960, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He committed his first murder on June 18, 1978, in Bath Township, Ohio, killing 18-year-old Stephen Hicks after luring him to his parents' home. After a period of drifting and struggles with alcohol, Dahmer resurfaced in the late 1980s and moved to Milwaukee in 1988, renting apartments where he began a brutal killing spree. Many of his later victims were marginalized young Black and Latino men, or men who were homeless, whose disappearances were often overlooked. Police frequently labeled missing men as runaways or addicts, and the limits of forensics, small DNA databases, and poor communication between jurisdictions meant these disappearances went uninvestigated. After moving back to Milwaukee in 1988, Jeffrey Dahmer began an escalating, methodical killing spree, murdering 16 more men and boys between 1988 and July 22, 1991. He targeted marginalized young Black and Latino men, as well as sex workers and homeless men, luring them with money or alcohol, then strangling, dismembering, and in some cases cannibalizing their flesh. Missing person reports piled up across Milwaukee and neighboring counties, but dispatchers and patrol officers routinely wrote disappearances off as runaways or addiction-related, and detectives failed to link the patterns. Subscribe. Maybe it would have gotten someone to look closer. Forensic leads were misclassified or ignored. Bloodstains, photos, and witness tips were poorly tracked, and small DNA databases plus weak interagency communication left critical links untested. A catastrophic police error returned 14-year-old Conorak Synthesam phone to Dahmer despite neighbors calling and visible injuries, a stark sign of investigative collapse. Those early failures let the killings continue until Tracy Edwards escaped on July 22, 1991, and forced the case into the open. Warnings had stacked up in plain sight. Landlords and neighbors reported foul odors, blood on rugs, missing tenants, and suspicious comings and goings to building managers and Milwaukee police. Polaroid snapshots circulated among Dahmer's acquaintances. Officers logged tips that were rarely cross-checked across precincts, while forensic leads, hairs, stains, and photos sat untested in evidence rooms. The catastrophe came to a head on May 27, 1991, when 14-year-old Conorak Synthesam phone was returned to Dahmer after two Milwaukee officers, John Balserzak and Joseph Gabrish, and emergency medical personnel accepted Dahmer's story despite visible injuries, frantic 911 calls from neighbors, and a lack of proper identification. Social service contacts and hospital staff failed to insist on ID, compounding the failure. This pattern of human error, bias, and bureaucratic blind spots stripped away barriers and pushed the spree toward the confrontation that Tracy Edwards' escape would force. The spree reached its breaking point on July 22, 1991, when Tracy Edwards escaped Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment building and flagged down police, insisting he had been held against his will. Officers followed Edwards to 924 North 25th Street, apartment 213, where they found a scene of horrific evidence. Inside, detectives discovered dozens of Polaroid photographs documenting mutilated and dismembered victims, human remains in a refrigerator and a freezer, skulls and bones stored in closets and containers, and tools stained with blood. Crime scene technicians methodically cataloged trunks, jars, and bloody clothing, swabbed stains for DNA, and photographed every macabre detail. Forensic teams matched remains to missing person reports using dental records and fingerprints, producing identifications that confirmed a trail of vanished men. In interrogation, Dahmer confessed to multiple murders, admitting he had lured, drugged, strangled, dismembered, and in some cases, cannibalized victims. His stark, procedural confessions then exposed a pattern of missed tips, ignored evidence, and investigative failures that had allowed the killings to continue. After Jeffrey Dahmer's arrest on July 22, 1991, Milwaukee prosecutors built a case around Polaroids, skulls, refrigerated flesh, jars of human remains, and his detailed confessions. In 1992, Jurors in Milwaukee County Court were shown the gruesome physical evidence and heard how dental and fingerprint records tied the remains to victims. Dahmer was convicted on 15 counts of murder and given 15 consecutive life sentences, but that legal finality was short-lived. On November 28, 1994, inmate Christopher Scarver beat Dahmer to death with a metal bar at Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin. After Dahmer's arrest, internal reviews examined how officers ended up returning 14-year-old Conorak Synthosom phone to Dahmer and ignored Tracy Edwards' warnings. Officers John Balserzak and Joseph Gabrish were formally censured and faced lawsuits. Reforms followed: clearer missing person protocols, better evidence handling, improved DNA tracking, and stronger cross-agency communication. The case forced a wider reckoning over bias against victims of color and LGBTQ people, and it left a lasting forensic and moral lesson.